So welcome back to DC Silver Age Storytime, and today's story comes from Adventure Comics number 349, published in October 1966, with story by Jim Shooter and art by Kurt Swan. You will let me join the Legion, you have no choice, say it, Legionnaires. Featuring Universo, the unwanted, oh how rude, as the rogue Legionnaire. That's not true. We accept you, Universo, you are now one of us. The Legionnaires search the centuries in a hunt for their arch foe, Universo, the rogue Legionnaire. So they're going through China and medieval England and all over the place. France. So they're at a science fair. Look at these exhibits. It's hard to believe students built these. They're all so good, it's hard to choose. Yes, the mayor appointed us judges. That's some clumsy expository dialogue. Hey, gang, look at this one. It's my collapsible time cube. It can transport matter through the fourth dimension to the past or the future. Look what happened to this statue. And he transports it back to the dinosaur age, and this is apparently a science fair for students. You deserve first prize, Superboy. The alarm receiver on my belt is registering. So somebody's trying to break in to the clubhouse, but meanwhile, this boy wins. I guess anyone else, all the other children, are out of luck because he won. Brainiac 5, why did you insist we leave? We have plenty of time. No, we haven't, Shrinking Violet. Someone's doing his best to crack into our headquarters just by, I guess, pounding on the door, but he finally uses his. Ray blasts in and is surprised to see the Legion. What? The Legion? But I saw you leave. We came in by a back entrance just to welcome you. This changes my plans. I had intended to steal a Legion time bubble, but now I have a better idea. I am Universo, and I want to join the Legion. Well, you sure have an unorthodox way of applying for membership. I love this. You're too old. Besides, we're not recruiting housebreakers these days. But at least let me demonstrate my power. You're too old. So he tries to use his super hypnosis, and you would think that Saturn Girl would be the most resistant, but she succumbs to. You accept me, Legionnaires. Say it, I am one of you. We accept you, you are one. Even Superboy is, this is Brainiac. Even Superboy is hypnotized. I must use all my will to resist him. If that guy takes over, he'll get control of our secret weapons. His power is diffused over 6 of us. I must fight it and win. And he does. I've done it. I've conquered his power. I'll get him now before he strikes again. Good job, Jim Shooter. You actually made Brainiac look smart. But Universo heads off, grabs one of the time bubbles, and destroys the other. So, Brainiac 5, what happened? The last thing we remember is Universo hypnotizing us. He escaped in one time bubble and destroyed the other. So, he suggests that they could have Superboy build the other one, but Superboy is in a daze. Apparently, the hypnosis must have had some kryptonite in it. I believe he uses that eye patch to do it, and now Superboy is still in a daze, and I don't know where Mon-El or Ultra Boy are. This seems to be a trend with Jim Shooter. So this guy contacts them and says that he registered a time bubble traveling through time, and asks what they're doing. And they say, can you please pinpoint the time era where the activity occurred? And then he gives 5 different locations: Peru, England, France, Egypt, and China. So they thank him for his help, and he says, quite all right. I'm always glad to be of service to my master, that is, Universo. So they head off to the science fair because they've lost their time bubble, but this boy has a time machine. But it has all sorts of requirements. It works on the same principle as your time bubble. That is, gamma vibro radiation faster than the speed of light, which cracks the time barrier. But my machine differs from yours in that the device itself goes through time, while mine merely projects its contents. For the objects to be returned to our era, they must be in the same spot at which they arrived. Also, the maximum time a person can remain in the past or future is 24 hours. If he is not at the appointed spot, he will be stranded in that period. I don't know why that is. Just it doesn't make sense. But it's a whole lot of plot convenience. So The first one they send back is Shrinking Violet to Egypt. And they're all heading through time. And first we see Chameleon Boy in Cusco, Peru. Good grief, someone's pushing a boulder down on that caravan. Looks like I arrived just in time. So he changes into a giant lens. And then blasts the rock, which seems unlikely. And I don't think his powers really work like that. They're pointing at me, calling me Inca or sun god. They think I'm their deity. Maybe I better not disappoint them. So he makes himself look like, I guess, what he thinks a deity is. Not bad. They're taking me to the palace to meet the king. No doubt that's where Universo will be. If he's here at all, I'll snoop around and search for him. So the king decides he must take the ceremony of the fire. So they take him up to the top of a volcano and just shove him in. Blazing suns, they're hurling me into the volcano. If you survive the mountain of fire, then you are the sun god. If not, you die for committing such sacrilege. So we go back in time. It's no use. I can't just sit around while the Legionnaires risk their lives. I must do something. Say, I have an idea. If I can complete this device soon, I may be able to help them. There are a lot of spare parts in this storeroom. Entire transistor units. I'll cannibalize them. Take parts from other gadgets to use on mine. So, Chameleon Boy turns himself into a parachute, which doesn't make sense. Again, he's Chameleon Boy. He's not Plastic Man. So why not just turn into a bird or something? So they decide that since he survived, that he is their sun god. But the king does not want that, particularly since he is hypnotized by Universo. He just leaps at Chameleon Boy with the intention of pushing him into the volcano. As the plunging figures vanish in the volcano, scalding steam inches above the all-consuming lava, we again span the Gulf of Time to Giza, Egypt, in the year 1243. And so that's where Shrinking Violet has arrived. Everyone is staring at me because of my future-style clothing. If I'm going to do any snooping, I'll need some native dress. Here's a clothes merchant. So she uses some gold that she brought along to buy some clothing. There she is. I recognize her. I must do as my master commanded. That's Universo. Stop that girl. She is a thief. She paid for her clothes with false gold. That man seems to be in a trance. Universo was here. So they try to seize her, but she disappears. She becomes small. Let them look. They'll never guess I escaped by shrinking. But I can't stay in the street. I might be stepped on. I'm glad I remember to bring my flight ring. Why would you forget? The pyramids of Giza and the Sphinx. What a view from this altitude. But this guy sends this falcon to take care of her. A falcon diving at me. Its claws are as large as boat anchors to me when I'm so small. I must dodge. But he grazes her and she plummets to the ground. A normal-sized person would be killed by the fall, but the miniature maid's light weight saves her from serious injury, at least until a horse-drawn chariot careens down the street an instant later. We will observe 1 minute of silence before continuing with part 2, because I guess she's dead. So we ourselves will finish with part 2 tomorrow.